Imagine being in a live interview, in front of millions of people, and suddenly, your shoulder moves on its own. Your eye blinks repeatedly. Your head turns without your intention. Now, imagine that happening every single day. Not because you're nervous. Not because you're distracted. But because your own body has decided not to obey anymore. It's as if your mind says, "Don't do that," and your body replies, "I'm going to do it anyway." Today, you're going to learn about one of the most misunderstood neurological syndromes in the world, Tourette syndrome. A disorder that causes the body to move, speak, and react, without permission. And more than that, we're going to show you how celebrities you know well live with it every single day, silently, both in front of the cameras and behind them too. So get ready, because what you're about to hear may change the way you see Tourette, and perhaps even the way you view the behavior of those around you. Tourette syndrome, or TS, isn't a rare condition. It's estimated that 1 in every 100 people has some degree of the syndrome. But even though it's relatively common, it's still surrounded by prejudice, jokes, and a great deal of misunderstanding. Tourette is a neurological disorder that usually appears in childhood, typically between the ages of 5 and 10. It manifests mainly through what are known as tics, which can be motor, such as blinking, turning the head, or making facial expressions, or vocal, such as coughing, grunting, repeating words, or even involuntarily shouting profanities. But don't worry, not everyone with Tourette goes around swearing. That particular symptom, known as coprolalia, occurs in only around 10% of cases. The vast majority have much subtler tics, but even those can be deeply uncomfortable and lead to embarrassment. Now think with me, how can someone live like that in a world where anything different becomes a reason to judge? How do you control something that even your brain can't? Despite the challenges, there are people who not only live with Tourette, but shine, inspire, and break barriers every single day. Let's now get to know 5 celebrities who live with this condition and show, with courage, that living with Tourette isn't the end, it's simply a new way to begin. First on our list is none other than Billie Eilish. Singer, songwriter, winner of multiple Grammy Awards, and someone who lives with Tourette syndrome. She revealed her condition in a very candid way, after videos of her tics started circulating on social media. Instead of hiding it, Billie chose to speak openly about it. She explained that her tics are physical, quick movements in her neck, eyes, and head. And that, when she's focused, like during interviews or performances, they tend to appear more often. She said, "Some people think it's funny, or they think I'm trying to be weird. But I'm not. It's something I can't control." Her honesty came as a relief to many. After all, seeing such a young, talented, and successful artist living with Tourette opened the door for a real conversation about the condition. What many people don't know is that, during her childhood, Billie suffered intense anxiety because of her tics. She said in interviews that she felt trapped inside her own body. But she found refuge in music, and above all, in the freedom to express herself in her own way. Billie also shared that she was afraid to speak publicly about her condition at first, worried she wouldn't be taken seriously as an artist. But the response was surprising. She received thousands of messages from fans who also live with the syndrome, and who felt seen and understood because of her. Today, she inspires millions of young people to embrace their uniqueness. And she shows that vulnerability can also be a source of strength. And the most incredible part, she doesn't let the syndrome define who she is. Billie shows us that you can still be a star, even if your body sometimes insists on moving on its own. Lele Pons is known for her humor, her viral videos, and for being one of the biggest digital influencers in the world. But behind the funny clips and that charismatic smile, Lele lives with something serious. She has Tourette syndrome and OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder. In her documentary, she spoke about the episodes, the tics, and the moments when her mind and body didn't feel like they were in sync. Lele shared that she had been bullied because of her Tourette, and spent years not understanding why she made certain movements or said things without meaning to. And for a long time, she felt ashamed of her condition. She also said that during her teenage years, she isolated herself socially to avoid stares and comments. Her tics would worsen under stress, making her feel even more insecure. On many occasions, she tried to hide her symptoms, creating a version of herself that seemed more acceptable to the public. But that only increased the pressure she felt inside. It was only when she started opening up to her fans that she realized something important: she no longer needed to pretend. Acceptance came with time, and with the support of those who truly mattered. So what did she do? She turned all of it into strength. She chose to speak out, raise awareness, and help others who were also living through it in silence. She showed that it's possible to live, create, laugh at yourself, and even become one of the world's most influential creators, even when your body wants to do the opposite. Now let's move into the world of sport. Tim Howard is one of the most respected goalkeepers in American football. He played in the Premier League, for the United States national team, and is remembered for one of the most remarkable performances in World Cup history. And he has Tourette. Tim was diagnosed as a child. He shares that both motor and vocal tics have always been part of his life, and that football became his escape, or better yet, his way of expressing himself. While others looked at him with confusion, inside the goal, he was unstoppable. Disciplined, focused, agile. He learnt to transform the energy of his tics into concentration. Instead of fighting his body, he made peace with it. Tim Howard is a true symbol of resilience. He proved that Tourette isn't a limitation, it's just a bend in the road, and that it's possible to go much further than people expect. If you're a fan of basketball, you might know Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. He played in the NBA during the 90s and was known for his speed, precision and for being different. Mahmoud has Tourette, and it directly affected his routine on the court. He developed repetitive rituals before taking a shot, as well as facial and body tics that, at first, no one could understand. He faced heavy prejudice, was often misunderstood, and lost opportunities. But he never gave up. He confronted the stigma head-on and continued to play at a high level. Today, Mahmoud is a speaker, an activist, and an inspiration to many who live with the syndrome. He shows that Tourette isn't a weakness, it's just a detail. And behind the tics, there's a powerful mind and a courageous heart. Lastly, let's talk about someone you might not have heard of yet, Jean-Marc Lorber. He's a teacher, author, public speaker, and one of the most powerful voices advocating for the inclusion of people with Tourette in Europe. Jean-Marc lives with intense vocal and motor tics. He's been excluded from classrooms, dismissed from jobs, and rejected in relationships because of the syndrome. But instead of staying quiet, he wrote books. Instead of hiding away, he took to the stage. He gives moving talks about how society needs to look beyond involuntary movements and recognize that behind Tourette is a complete human being, full of ideas, dreams, and emotions. Jean-Marc is living proof that the body may act without permission, but the soul remains strong, aware, and brave. That's Tourette, an invisible condition that speaks through movement. A silent noise that few understand. But it exists. It hurts. It exhausts. And it needs to be embraced. These individuals show us that it's possible to live, shine, and achieve, even when the body doesn't fully cooperate. We need to stop judging what we don't understand. We need to learn to see with our eyes, listen with our hearts, and respond with compassion. Because at the end of the day, everyone is fighting a battle you can't see. And Tourette is just one of those invisible struggles. If this video has helped you in any way, don't forget to leave a like. It lets us know this content matters to you. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do that now, because here we talk about real, human topics that deserve to be heard with an open heart. Oh, and there's another incredible video right here on the screen, ready for you to watch. Click it and stay with us, because knowledge is never too much, and empathy is never too little. Until next time, and remember, sometimes the body acts without permission, but the heart always knows the right path.